Welcome to the channel, and in this video I wanted to continue my series on DVDs I can't get rid of, whether it be for sentimental reasons, or there not being an HD version, or the movie is just a really cool addition. So let's get into the video. First up is the underappreciated vampire film Stakeland. I really started to get into collecting DVDs around 2010, and I saw this at FYE. I took a chance on it because I just thought it looked cool, and it said special edition on the cover, so I figured I couldn't go wrong. I wasn't a harsh critic back then. Actually, I would say I'm still not a harsh critic, so there wasn't any real risk for this blind buy, and I felt justified after watching it. The movie is like 30 Days of Night meets The Road. There's a vampire epidemic, and a young dude befriends this badass vampire slayer, and they're trying to seek sanctuary in this sort of post-apocalyptic world. And along the way, they're joined by other survivors, and they come into conflict with not just vampires, but this religious cult. Danielle Harris is also in this movie, and she's pretty much like horror royalty by now. The movie was co-written and directed by Jim Mickle, who recently was the showrunner for the Netflix show Sweet Tooth. There is a Blu-ray for this movie, but I've kept this DVD in my collection because it does have an extra bonus feature that's not on the Blu-ray. So in my dumb brain, I guess I can consider this the definitive version of the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, then definitely check it out. It's currently streaming on Peacock, Prime, and Tubi.
Welcome to Stakeland, kid.
Next up is a double feature DVD of two DC animated movies, the Batman Superman World's Finest movie and the Batman vs. Dracula. The Batman Superman movie is actually a 3-episode arc from the Superman animated series, where Batman and Superman team up to take on the Joker and Lex Luthor. Superman the Animated Series has been released on Blu-ray, so you can check this out in that collection. I don't know if they ported over the bonus features from this DVD, but the Batman vs. Dracula hasn't been released on Blu-ray. That animated series did get a complete Blu-ray set, but they didn't include this movie on that. My friend Jared recommended me to watch this movie, and I've never seen this animated series. It was a little after my time, so I watched this movie and I wound up really liking it. The character designs were pretty different from the OG Batman the Animated Series, but I didn't mind the changes. Dracula was voiced by Peter Stormare, and he's the perfect choice for that character. I'm yet to check out this series, but this movie was a great introduction to this version of Batman. Next is another DC animated movie of my favorite DC character. Green Lantern First Flight came out during the height of Jeff Johns' run on the character. Green Lantern at that time was DC's second highest selling comic, just behind Batman, so it made sense to give the character his own animated movie. I bought this off eBay a couple years ago, and I had already owned the Blu-ray, but I just wanted it to have this Best Buy exclusive collector's edition on display, along with the exclusive figure that came with it. I miss these types of editions, and I'm sure we'll never get something like this ever again. So all the more reason to keep this, and if you're wondering if this movie is better than the 2011 Ryan Reynolds film, it absolutely is. It's somewhat of a retelling of Hal Jordan's origin and how he became the Green Lantern. A lot of stuff is added or changed, and these animated movies are pretty short. They're always like 70 minutes long, so a lot of stuff has to get condensed and altered. I don't know what James Gunn has planned for animated DC movies going forward, but these movies were great for their time and were a great way to get your fix for the DC universe outside of the comic books. If you didn't like the 2011 movie and wanted to give this corner of the DC universe another try, then definitely give this movie a shot. Next up is a favorite comedy of mine. The Good still hasn't made the jump to Blu-ray, and it's a little surprising because Paramount is usually pretty good at putting movies out on Blu-ray from their extensive catalog. I mean, they gave Good Burger a Blu-ray steelbook, but that was probably because the sequel was coming out. Maybe they'll license this out to somebody. This movie has some pretty big heavyweights in the comedy genre. I mean, you got Jeremy Piven, David Koechner, Catherine Hahn, Ed Helms, Ken Jeong, Tony Hale, and Rob Riggle, plus a really funny cameo by Will Ferrell. I bought this DVD back in the day from Blockbuster. They would have really good deals on their previously viewed section. I think the deal was like 5 for $20. This was at the tail end of Blockbuster's life, and I like how sturdy their cases were. Plus on the inside, it has the Blockbuster logo debossed, making this DVD a relic of the good old video rental store. Next is another favorite comedy of mine with Saving Silverman. It's a movie that I didn't grow to love until a few years ago. I had seen it when I was younger, but it just didn't leave much of an impression on me. So I bought it on UMD to watch on my PSP, and I brought it with me on a road trip I took from Florida to Massachusetts. And I watched it one night, and I really enjoyed it, and every time since I've watched this movie, I found myself enjoying it more and more. Then I came across this DVD at a flea market a couple years ago, and I checked to see if it had a Blu-ray, and it does, but it's a bare bones release from Mill Creek Entertainment. So this DVD remains the definitive version of the movie. It has a few bonus features, and inside it has a little pamphlet with further information on the making of the film. Both this DVD and the UMD have the R-rated version of the film as well.
Yeah! Coming on, yeah!
Next is another comedy. Well, it's more of a dark comedy, or maybe you could call it a dramedy. Anyway, Wristcutters is a great indie film about a dude who commits suicide and ends up in an afterlife with other people that have also committed suicide. Now, I know that sounds bleak as fuck, but the movie is filled with fun and interesting characters. Patrick Fugit's character Zia befriends Shea Wigham, who plays this Russian musician, and they go on a road trip to find Zia's girlfriend. I think I came across this film while looking through Shane and Sossaman's filmography because I have a huge crush on her. Then I saw the cast and was like, this movie looks great. I mean, you got Tom Waits, John Hawkes, Nick Offerman, Leslie Bibb, Mark Boone Jr., and Will Arnett. This movie is yet to get a Blu-ray, and it's owned by Lionsgate, so maybe they'll put it out in their Vestron video label, and I think it would fit well in that line. Next is a DVD steelbook of the Bourne Ultimatum, and I found this at a Goodwill a few months back. I haven't come across many DVD steelbooks, and I don't know how many DVDs got steelbooks back in the day, before it became the norm for steelbooks to come with Blu-rays. I already have 2 in my collection with both the Boondock Saint movies getting steelbooks, and I showed those off in part 2 of this series. So for the sake of preserving physical media, I had to pick this up. I already own this movie in a Blu-ray bundle along with the other Bourne movies. I think the consensus is that this is the best of all the Bourne movies, and I rewatched it for this video because these movies have blended together for me. But this is a great movie. I thought I'd get annoyed with the quick cuts and the shaky cam style, and while it is very apparent, it's well shot to the point where I can still tell what's going on, and the fast editing style keeps the movie at a breakneck pace. For this story, it really works with Jason Bourne, who's just in a rush to find out what happened to him while the government is trying to hunt him down. The last movie for this video is American Hardcore, and this is one of my favorite documentaries. It's the definitive documentary on the 80s hardcore punk scene. Punk is one of my favorite genres of music, and this documentary, along with the book by Stephen Blush, introduced me to so many of these bands. I was probably 17 when I first watched this, and that was absolutely the perfect time because I just related so much to these young bands that were just angry and frustrated and just said whatever the fuck they wanted to say in songs that were just like a minute long. They weren't interested in making a bunch of money or getting radio play. It was just a DIY movement, and when I turned 18, my first tattoo I got was actually a minor threat tattoo, and I still quote this documentary with my friend Dylan to this day, and I do plan on covering this documentary in a long-form video in the future. Thanks for watching this video on some DVDs that I have in my collection. Let me know what you guys think of these movies, or what DVDs are you still holding on to, despite the 4K and digital landscape. I'm working on a part 5, and that will be coming out soon, so I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a movie time.
I'm a mime. I'm a mime.
Mimes don't talk.
They do when they're off duty.